on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, and it is News Network at sabc.co.za on email. For now, let's look at what's coming up on the program. Malawi uses drone technology to fight cholera. We look at weather technologies that can accurately predict the weather. And our conversation is on the importance of having indigenous languages or our mother tongues on social media platforms with Sibusiso Nkosi from the Pan South African Language Board. How are you, Sibusiso?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Now tell me, how important is it to have our mother tongue as options on social media platforms?
It's definitely important. I mean, after all, they are official languages. Okay,
hold on to that one. We will be unpacking it later on the show. And now for social media and technology news. Ever wonder how Sipesihle Kunene and his team of weathermen managed to bring up little shining suns and perfectly formed cold fronts at the touch of a well-manicured finger? It's something that occupies our minds every time we watch their forecast on SABC. So we decided to spend a day with the team and check out the best toys technology has to offer.
Meteorologists at the SABC have always monitored the condition of the atmosphere that impact the weather, but over time, the equipment they use has changed.
Today we have the best technologies that anyone can ever think of. People back in the day never thought we could have such technologies. I mean, if you look at, as one example is the radar technology that we have. Radar, maybe you know, maybe you don't, but what it does is that it just measures the reflectivities. It sends an echo, a signal, a pulse, or a microwave signal, which comes back to the radar. It has a sender and a receiving antenna.
As technology advanced, our scientists began to use more efficient equipment to collect and use additional data. These technological advances enable our meteorologists to make better predictions faster than ever before.
Our predictions generally depend on how powerful the computers we have currently are, because we're basing everything on the computers. If they are fast, then our predictions are fast.
One of the most exciting and innovative future technology enhancements for public weather services is in the lightning detector and radar remote sensing arena.
Technology plays a huge role in the weather forecasting. For example, one of our infrastructure that we have is the weather radar that we use for weather forecasting. For example, the weather radar, it measures the intensity of the weather activities by radiating electromagnetic waves into the precipitation and then measure back the echoes.
LDS is what you see at the back. Ne? It consists of a low frequency antenna, and also it has a GPS and also a receiver unit. What happens is this antenna can receive lightning, ne? But what happens is you need 3 of them to detect a lightning strike, meaning in terms of we use triangulation.
So Sihle, with all these pieces of technologies that are surrounding us, your gadgets, your small remote controls, your flat screens, how does it work in here?
Well, you're talking about this small remote control.
Yes.
Well, here, this is the studio. This is where we present the weather. And I'm sure you can see what's here behind me. But as you can see, there's nothing behind me, but we can see what is happening. What I have here is this remote, which I can control to say the next slide, if I want the previous one or whatever I want. So I've got all the power here, but no one sees it. And then the screens here, I've got a screen here on my left, and this one I can see what is happening behind me. And I have, well, a camera here there, which is showing me exactly, I can see myself over there, what is happening as I'm standing here in front of you.
We can definitely say Sipesihla's job is safe. With the advent of mobile forecast and updates, you will always be able to take the weather with you, which means there is no excuse to get caught without an umbrella.
Now, Malawi is using drones to create image maps of high-risk areas to stem the spread of cholera.
Malawi is using drones to identify hotspots for cholera transmission in the capital, Lilongwe. Drones help map areas that are densely populated and collect data for health workers to implement interventions against the spread of the disease.
What I have seen is so encouraging. This is timely, and we are happy about this technology because it will enable us to deal with specific cholera hotspots.
The project is a joint initiative of the United Nations Children's Agency, UNICEF, and the government.
We have been using like chalkboards and walls to draw maps before, which can work, but it doesn't necessarily give the same kind of contact that people have when they see something printed out like this, and they can say, "Oh, that's the marketplace. Oh, and look at that rubbish, all the rubbish that's there," so they can relate to it better. So it helps to get people very animated and to say, no, we've got to do something about this. We have to do something about what we see, because we can see it right here in this picture in front of us.
Community leaders and residents participated in studying the maps and contributed to plans that can help improve things.
It has revealed many things that we didn't know about. As community leaders, we now have a huge task to ensure that our surroundings are clean and tidy. We have assured the organizers that we will take immediate action, and within the next 6 months, things will improve.
Malawi's drone corridor has been used before for humanitarian operations and development work. Health workers say the maps created through drone imagery helped bring the scope of the crisis into perspective for many residents.
Now, ever wanted to start your own business? Well, pay attention, as BizChamp is taking it upon themselves to get you on your way. The app gives new business owners the know-how of the business world. Take a look.
I realized that there's a problem in entrepreneurs not having tools to get to where others are. I don't have the tools to make this business a reality. And that's really what called me to create the app, to sit and say, let's put all the business tools that an individual running a business will need, let's put them on the palm of his hand. What we delivered was a manual on running a business. So we created a manual to say, if you want to run a successful business, these are the things that you're going to need. These are the questions that you ask every time. Let's give you an answer to these questions. The easy way to do this is through your mobile phone, and the app idea came into place. The app is quite easy, very accessible. It's on both the iOS platform and the Android platform, and it's built on icons. So people can relate to the icons. They're able to click on the icon, go into the space they want to go within that. We've even taken it to an extent where we have created chat rooms on the app. So if a person says, look, I want to speak with a business coach, the person is able to go to a space that is called Ask the Champ, and people are able to go and click there, and then it takes them to this chat room where they're able to ask a business coach questions for their business. We're really targeting that entrepreneur that is hasn't even realized their entrepreneurial flair. So that person that says, I would like to go into business, but how do I do that? And we take in this app and saying, here is a tool for you to transform that dream, to transform the thought and make it a reality without having to run around and paying money all over the place to try and get the tools to set up your business.
Now, after the break, we talk about the incorporation of African language on social media platforms with Sbusiso Nkosi. Stay tuned.
After a horrific accident, major questions were asked.
So step one, I asked myself, do I really want to die? And my answer to that was, I'm not sure. And then step two was, do I want my parents to bury me? And the answer to that was no.
Learning kept his brain in full action on how the brain works.
When I was in hospital, right, as I was saying, to catch up with my peers, I started to become obsessed with memory techniques and how the brain works and how we retain information.
Touching lives is his continuous mission.
I now work for a non-profit where we deal with access issues regarding kids with disabilities and persons with disability. We're busy working on beach access.
Being wheelchair-bound did not stop fun in his life.
I party in a wheelchair, I laugh in a wheelchair, I smile in a wheelchair.
For all your uplifting stories, catch Bupilong every Friday.
We pump up your energy, keeping you in action through sports updates while resting at home. This is what's happening in your world of sport every weekend.
In the second half, Kulisi and Jaco Kriel combined well, and Kulisi scored his second try. He was also named man of the match.
Confusion from the West defenders gifted Batosi with a close-range goal.
Masina, you touch the Pagata, it's 1-0! Cato City!
In the 10th round, he pinned a visibly fatigued McGregor on the ropes and hammered the Irishman before the referee stepped in to stop the bout.
He's a tough competitor.
He's a lot more experienced, especially in the later.
Keep it locked on Sports Live every Saturday and Sunday at 20:30.
Now, welcome back. Seati Moloi says that South Africans are too reliant on international platforms. For this reason, he saw the need to develop an African social network that offers the options to use your mother tongue. The social media app is called Chomi. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Social media has been we've been heavily reliant on international services. And we saw an opportunity as a business to create a local platform that speaks to all South Africans. And we obviously had to be mindful for the fact that not everyone can read and write in English, or that if you cannot read and write in English, it means you're illiterate. Because our languages were being lost on the digital sphere. And making a home-brewed social media platform, we had to be cognizant of that. We've got an app that are used by smartphones. We've got a feature phones for those old, BlackBerry phones with keyboards, as well as a USSD version. There are about 15 million of these sensors that are circulating in the country currently. And traditional social media, being the likes of your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., it's used by about 30% of the population. There's over 70% of our people who do not have access to that purely because of handsets, purely because of language, but most importantly because of affordability. Data, as we know, is very, very expensive, and we've made it sure that even our app or USSD, it's cost-effective for users.
Now in studio with us to discuss the importance of having indigenous languages on social media platforms is Busiso Nkosi from the Pan South African Language Board, otherwise known as PanSouth. How are you, Busiso?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you so much for being our guest.
Sure.
Now, Busiso, I found out that February is actually a month that is dedicated to celebrate our languages. Now, what initiatives do you have to cater for languages in the social media space?
Thank you. It's February. We call it Language Activism Month. It's a month that, as PanSouth, we thought it will be prudent that we dedicate it to the celebration of our languages. The reason for that is that, one, you have International Mother Language Day, which is the 21st of February. And then you also have Read Aloud Day, which is the 1st of February. So instead of just celebrating these 2 days, we said it will be good if we can just dedicate this month to our languages. We don't have in our national calendar days that we dedicate to our languages. So basically, that's why we said let's just dedicate this month to our languages. It's a campaign that started last year, so it's going very well. We have partners, including the SABC as well.
So, going forward, what initiatives are sort of being looked at to be to sort of have languages, our own languages, in the social media space?
At the moment, what we're doing, we have awards that we give to people who are in that space, like the guy that we're talking about now, that he has created this app. I mean, in the past, we have celebrated companies like Google, we have celebrated companies like Microsoft, that they do recognize the need for our languages to exist in the digital space. That's the program that we have at the moment to support these guys who are in that space. I mean, as PenSALB, we do have programs that are looking at problems that we have within this language sphere. For instance, like right now, we are looking at issues of reading. As a country, we know we have a problem that we can't read. Kids, I think in grade 4, if I'm not mistaken, they can't read for meaning, So that's what we are trying to tackle this year. Our theme is about we read, siyafunza riyabala in our indigenous languages. So basically, I'm saying it's important, again, to have such apps so that people can engage using their own languages in that field of social media.
So, but then does PenSALB sort of encourage the creation, maybe you call out to developers to sort of encourage them to create things like that are catered towards our people or, our languages?
Yeah, for instance, I think we normally assist them when it comes to the standardization of the language within the apps, because sometimes you'll find that people, they will say they will develop an app, but the language that they are using there is not up to standard. So that's one thing that we assist them with, But in terms of developing, I think that's their expertise. Our expertise is the issue of languages.
Okay, we spoke earlier about a category in one of your award ceremonies. Please just tell me more about that. Yeah,
we have awards every year. We call them the PenSALB Language Awards. So we look at different fields, different spheres, including music, technology, government departments. And as I said, one of the categories deals with the issue of technology. We look at people who are bringing new apps like we're talking about right now that are there to assist in terms of the development of our languages. So what we do, as I said, we have judges who look at the entries and give an award to whoever maybe wins during that year. But as I said, we have people like Microsoft, Google that have won in the past.
Yeah, that's true. So looking at, the smaller guys, like the Chomi developer guy, how would PenSALB come to the fore in trying to assist maybe?
Yeah, the only problem is that we in the past, we have dealt with a lot of guys, who have shown passion that they want to develop these apps and assist our languages. But the problem that in most cases, they just fizzle out, It's not an easy field to get into. But as I said, we do welcome them and we do assist in terms of putting the right, correct language within those apps. As I said, the issue of making sure that that language is standardized.
Okay. How about funding?
At the moment, unfortunately, we don't give funding, because we also rely on sometimes donors, sometimes we do receive money from government, but it's not enough to cater for such. I mean, we'll definitely love to fund people, to come up with such apps in the future.
Okay, thank you so much for coming through to our show.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Sibusiso Nkosi from PenSALB, otherwise known as the Pan-South African Language Board. Now, we caught up with TV and radio personality Pearl Muriadie, and she told us about her favorite piece of technology. Take a look.
Hello everyone, it's me Pearl Muriadie, and I'm here to show you my favorite gadget. It happens to be my phone. I take it everywhere with me, you really can't live without it. And what I have on my phone really are photo and video editing apps. That's number one on my list, because gotta keep up with the social media life. I've got lots in this folder, as you can see, lots that I use for different reasons. I've also got all my social media in there in one category. I like grouping all my stuff. Just makes life more organized. I've got my shopping apps. I'm that girl. I love shopping online. What else? I've got my banking apps. I've got my games as well. You know, should I find myself bored and I don't have a book to read. And yeah, I love my phone. I can't live without it. It's my favorite gadget in the world.
South Africa is in need of a frank dialogue about the state of our nation. My name is Onkgopotse JJ Tabane. Join me on Frankly Speaking every Sunday at 8:30. Come now, let's talk frankly.
We take an in-depth look of all your stories of the day across the world. Stay tuned to Primetime News every day from 18 hours.
Now, welcome back. Let's now look at other international stories making technology headlines, including a company in the USA that uses robots as security guards.
Security is one of the latest areas where smart robots are assuming a larger role and increasingly performing jobs that many humans would rather not do. One example is Ramsey, one of the first security robots in the United States, which has been developed by Colorado-based firm Gamma 2 Robotics Corporate Development. The robot meets with an increasing demand from security providers who are looking for new and cost-effective ways to protect their clients.
The robot's never going to show up late. It's never going to call in sick. It's never going to drink on the job or nap on the job. You know, they are reliable.
Ramsey has so far been a model employee with its robotic nature, making it well suited for carrying out the rigors of security work, which Davis says has been labeled by humans as dull, dirty, dangerous, and repetitive.
They're just the dull, the dirty, the dangerous, the repetitive at 3 in the morning, where humans really do not want to be doing this job. That's what the robot has always been developed for, and now we're at a place where it's ready to do that job.
Ramsey is equipped with 4 cameras and sensors that help it detect heat, smoke, humidity, gases, as well as motion. The robot can send alerts to a monitoring center, which can then dispatch a first responder if needed.
Rather than send a human guard to go explore what that situation is about, why not use Ramsey to go explore it? He can handle the smoke, he can certainly detect it.
10 Ramsey robots have been built so far. According to its developer, they are priced at $65,000 per machine. And with a predicted useful life of 3 years, these security robots could save on labor costs and, more importantly, showcase how robots can play an even bigger role in helping humans in the future.
This is the wave of the future, and to be able to see the kind of things that they can do, and ultimately, as they develop them out to do even more in the future, it's going to be very fascinating.
On Friday, China launched its first seismo-electromagnetic satellite to study seismic precursors, which might help establish a ground space earthquake monitoring and forecasting network in the future. A Long March 2D rocket launched at 1551 from Zhuaking Satellite Launch Center in northwest China carried the 730-kilogram China seismo-electromagnetic satellite into a sun-synchronous orbit at an altitude of about 500 kilometers. Known as the Zhangheng 1 in Chinese, it will help scientists monitor the electromagnetic field, ionospheric plasma, and high-energy particles for an expected mission life of 5 years. The satellite is named Zhangheng, a renowned scholar of the East Han Dynasty, which pioneered earthquake studies by inventing the first ever seismoscope in the year 132. Zhangheng 1 will record electromagnetic data associated with earthquakes above 6 magnitude in China for those above 7 magnitude around the world, in a bid to identify patterns in the electromagnetic disturbances in the near-Earth environment.
Artificial intelligence sure is taking over the world. Now, we asked you whether or not you'd like to see your mother tongue offered as an option on social media platforms, and 81% of you say that you definitely want to see your languages as an option on social media, and 19% are not keen about the idea. Now, that's all we have for you this week. Be sure to catch us again, same time, same place. And don't forget to follow us on social media platforms, and it's SABC Network and News Network on email. We leave you with visuals of the SpaceX taking off. From me and the rest of the network team, bye-bye.